Polish is one of the hardest languages in the world. As a Polish teacher, what kind of mistakes foreigners do learning Polish?
Maybe let's start with the mistake people do before they start learning. So they set up expectations.
Oh.
So they expect that it's going to take maybe 3 months, and yes, I'm going to be on A2 level. And it's not realistic, to be honest. And then when they start the process of learning, they're very disappointed, and sometimes they will stop learning once, twice, and so on because of that, because they lose confidence.
So they lose confidence, yeah?
Yes, because they think it's impossible, but it's because of the expectations, not because it's really impossible.
Do you think the expectation stems from learning other languages, or it just they think it's easy, or they think they can acquire it in months only?
Yes, so that's another thing. I wish that every person that starts learning Polish already knew another foreign language, because I think you can tell from experience that it helps a lot. Like, you've been through this process, you know how challenging it is. It's also rewarding, but challenging. And lots of people, lots of Anglophones especially, don't have this experience of like really getting to know another foreign language. Maybe they had a little bit of Spanish or a little bit of French, but it was just for fun. They've never used it. And then they're not ready for what it takes to learn a language from another language group. Because you said Polish was very difficult, but it also depends on your mother tongue. Because Ukrainians or Belarusians can reach A2 level in 6 months, whereas other people will take a little bit longer. Maybe, yes, maybe 2 or 3 years, like 2 years probably, if they like really put an effort and diligently learn twice a week, do their homework. So often more realistically is 3 years.
Let's say I am a foreigner, I just go to Poland and I need to learn Polish. So what kind of steps I need to take in order to have a good start with the language? What kind of, let's say, grammar or vocabulary I need to learn? Like, I need them. There is no negotiation.
No negotiation.
Negotiation, non-negotiable Polish.
Well, for sure, you have to learn a few basic cases. So probably instrumental and accusative would be the most important.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. So there's no escape from
Biernik.
learning the cases, no escape from Biernik and other cases. And it's also a mistake people will make. So they will be like, okay, I'll be learning the words because this gets me farther. And then maybe when I'm confident, I'll go back to the grammar. And it's a huge mistake, because then it's so hard to break the bad habits people have already built. And yeah, sometimes it's that they will use wrong forms of words. They will speak their way. People will kind of understand them, but this will be bad grammar. And then it's so hard to go back. And it's true both for Slavic people and for foreigners from other countries. So don't wait with the grammar. Maybe don't make a point to have perfect grammar from the start. It's impossible. But don't leave it for later.
Okay, so we start from grammar always. And should foreigners immediately start watching like TV shows or videos in Polish, or they need at least to learn the basics to start?
Yes, that's also very important, that people are scared of not understanding something. Sometimes people are so ambitious that they get scared, like, oh, I can't watch it because I will only understand 5 words over a course of an hour of watching. But that's okay. You should just listen and get your ear accustomed to how the language sounds. And you can learn many words just from doing that. I used to watch some Hebrew shows, and I already picked up, like 10 words that they use all the time, and it was not even my intention. Like, I'm not learning that. So, and I do the same with the Czech. So I'm learning the Czech language, and I also try to watch cartoons and stuff. And then I can hear, oh, this was in my lesson, this word, this structure. So it stays in your brain.
In terms of Polish, what are the essential sounds you need to differentiate?
The sounds that are made by the double letters that we love so much, with the dots and slashes. So sh, ch, ż, h, etc. These are the most important. Also chi, shi, the soft sounds.
Okay.
So all the typical ones, you know.
Typical ones, yeah. And what is a realistic timeline for a foreigner to learn Polish at the conversational level?
I would give it like 3 years.
Wow.
I think
That's harsh.
if it's like supposed to be like really conversational, and I speak from experience. Theoretically, if you look at charts and the hours you need to spend studying, so around 300 hours for A2, you could squeeze this in 2 years. But let's face it, you have to be like really diligent. So go to the class, do your homework, be exposed to the Polish language. If you do it, okay. But most of the people will, you know, take breaks, go back to the class, maybe struggle with something, and they have to go back to this. So we don't live in a perfect world. So I would be like, okay, I'm giving myself 3 years, and I'm not stressed that, oh, why I'm not progressing accordingly, you know, to the chart that I saw on the internet. And I think the best comparison here is playing an instrument. No, I don't play an instrument myself, unfortunately, which is a shame. But I know that everyone's pace is a little bit different, because someone will be really talented and they can, you know, play guitar like that. And some people struggle a little bit. They take longer to get, you know, the right position of the fingers and so on. And it's the same with the language. So we cannot say there's like one method for one person. Some people like individual lessons, some people like group lessons. There are students that are able to learn independently with a teacher being only this assistant, explaining, you know, the most difficult places. And there are very few students like that. I had maybe 3 over the course of 6 years.
Yeah, certainly. What you said about hours is there is a principle that if you spend 10,000 hours doing something or learning something, you're gonna master it. So I think it's the same thing with Polish. So if you study 10,000 hours Polish, for sure you're gonna reach at least B1. And let's say a foreigner, he wants to have individual classes with you or any Polish teacher. What is like the perfect plan for him? Let's say he wants to reach B1 and he's ready to study Polish with a teacher, make individual classes.
Yeah.
What do you see like the perfect plan for him?
Perfect plan is that we cooperate. So it's not that I'm the bad policeman and the person tries to run away from me and you know, trick me. And use ChatGPT, for instance, although ChatGPT can be a great tool, but you have to be smart about using it. The person needs to have a little bit of trust, because sometimes I get these students that have their own idea. So I tell them, please do this and that for the next class. And they did a lot of other things that are unrelated, because they got interested in, oh, maybe this other case or this other past tense form, and they focused on that. And that's not what we wanted to do. So I think cooperation is the key. And also being exposed to the language. So for instance, Babcia School of Polish, that's great. Or Teściowa School of Polish, yes. When you're forced to use the language.
You're forced to use language, yeah. Exactly. And what kind of books, let's say by level, let's say if I am A1 or A2, what kind of books I can start reading in Polish? Because I made the mistake of, I told you about like listening to a political podcast.
Oh, okay.
Like
So maybe
especially at A1 level, it's tough to understand.
Okay, it's not an ad, but I could recommend the series of books Kicia Kocia. So I've heard from many foreigners that they turned out to be helpful. So they bought them for their kids, like in these like mixed marriages. And Kicia Kocia is great because it's very simple. It's for little kids, maybe like 3 years old. And each thin book tells a different story. I mean, the topic is different. So she's doing something in the kitchen, and then she's in the garden, and then she goes to the dentist. So it's like focused on just one topic. So that's better than just reading like a fairy tale where you've got all the myths, all the creatures, and the language is very difficult. So Kicia Kocia, I recommend.
Okay, and what about there's this theory that if you learn 2,000 Polish words or any language, like you learn 2,000 words, and then you can understand 80% of the language. Is it a good strategy, or is it very
just counting words? Like I don't believe in these like statistics, and I think it's very individual. And also speaking of words, you will know that the words change in Polish, so it's not only about learning one form, but some pattern. And I think that because I said that grammar was very important, but it's not only about maybe learning all the endings at the beginning, but you can also start with some phrases. So even if you don't know all of the cases yet, learn phrases. So try to memorize this word in some contexts. And then over the course of your studies, like the moment will come that you'll be, oh, so now I understand why this phrase sounds like this.
Okay.
So you don't have to be like, okay, we're learning this phrase and I don't understand why. Why is that? Why is that? And you want the teacher to like give you a lecture on the like history of the Polish language and understand why. You can just wait. Like the time will come that you will understand why it's panu, pana, panem, and so on, for instance.
Yeah, there are a lot of resources out there, like there are apps, like Facebook groups, YouTube videos, group like the private teaching groups or having private classes. What works and what doesn't work in your experience?
It doesn't work starting with apps. I think apps are great, but have a little start with some classes, either individual or group classes, and then with the apps. Yes.
And how to keep the routine of learning? Because I get discouraged always. Like, yeah, I learn like maybe 1 month every day I'm studying 1 hour Polish, and then the next month it's like once a week, twice a week. How to keep it going? Is it the difficult increasing the difficulty or lowering the difficulty, or it's in between?
I think that you should try to use it in real life. So I think this is like little awards are great. So you go to a coffee shop, you read the menu, and you can see that, oh, maybe I don't understand everything, but I understand a lot. Or you try to use some phrase at the shop, and it also keeps you going. So yeah, try to use it and watch movies, listen to music, be interested not only in the language but the culture too. And I think that's a great motivation, that you want to get to know about the culture, maybe customs and stuff. And this comes with specific, vocabulary.
Do you think Polish language reflects the Polish mentality?
Absolutely. I believe that every language can show the mentality of the people. For instance, the official forms, right? So pan, pani. So it shows that hierarchy is important. Then we've got a lot of sayings that stem from the village life. So like,
For example, give us
for example, one of my favorites is po ptakach,
Okay.
which translates into after birds. And why is it after birds? Because someone wanted to shoot a quail in the fields, maybe, and then moved, and the quail, off it went. So no supper. And then po ptakach.
What about the sayings in Poznan? Because each voivodeship has its own sayings.
So Poznań is rich in Poznań dialect. It's mostly German based because of German partition that was here for many years. And yeah, and actually, if people live in Poznań, I do teach them some expressions, like for instance, cater, which would be pies,
Yes.
so dog. So
Oh.
it's a completely different word.
Mhm.
Or szneka for drożdżówka for the yeast cake. Or wuchta, which would be dużo, a lot.
Okay.
So there are many words like this. Or ćmik, which would be a cigarette, not papieros, like in
Papieros.
general Polish.
Oh.
So there are lots of these words, and people do use them. There are a few phrases, like grammar construction of the phrases, differs in Poznań. So, for instance, we would say czekam za tobą instead of czekam na ciebie. So czekam na ciebie, I'm waiting for you in general Polish, but in Poznań they will say czekam za tobą. And then I know, aha, this is like local person from Wielkopolska. And I had to learn this too, because I came here, this was probably like 16 years ago, but I didn't know, these words at all.
And what kind of free resources foreigners can use in order to learn Polish?
I recommend going to university websites. They have like a whole list of free materials that you can use. So look for, I think that if you use a browser and just write free Polish materials, bezpłatne materiały, there's a ton of things. I can recommend one series that's a little bit more advanced. I mean, more advanced. So maybe like A1 plus A2. It's called Leksyka z kulturą. It's like the whole series, z kulturą. So there's the verb, the vocabulary. There are a few books focused on different topics. And it's free.
Okay, that's very good. Can you give us some tongue twisters?
Tongue twisters?
Yeah.
You know already some tongue twisters.
I've seen them, but I don't know.
You should be presenting them, right?
No, like some easy ones that beginners can start using in order to get accustomed to the language.
Well, the most famous is maybe not the easiest one. It's the one about the little beetle playing its music in the grass. So w szczebrzeszynie chrząszcz brzmi w trzcinie.
Okay.
You remember this one?
Yeah, what about Karol, Krok?
This was that everyone likes because maybe it's a little bit easier. Król Karol kupił królowej Karolinie korale koloru koralowego.
If students they practice daily tongue twisters, they can get to, let's say, to understand Polish easier, or they will get to the tone.
I think tongue twisters are like little poems. So you can also learn some interesting words like chrząszcz. Like when would you learn this word otherwise? Like chrząszcz, maybe after a couple of years.
And what about using poems? Because poems, they rhyme. Do you think it's a good strategy?
It could be a good strategy to learn some kids' poems, maybe. There's a poet called Jan Brzechwa, and he wrote a lot of little funny poems, for instance, about animals, not only. And I think many of them could be used even at the beginner's level. Mickiewicz, no. Maybe Mickiewicz.
I tried Mickiewicz. I failed miserably because I read his book. I tried to read his book, the one he wrote about Lithuania, I think.
Yeah. Litwojczyzna moja.
Oh my God! So he was using like old Polish language already.
Old Polish, yes. But Wisława Szymborska, the poet who got the Nobel Prize, and she got this prize because her language that was unique. Namely, it was very simple, but not simplistic. So she was able to use like pretty easy words to express some deeper ideas. And there are many translations of her poems. So if you go online, look for Szymborska, you can compare the Polish and English version.
it's a good starting point, I think, for also for me
Uh-huh.
to read her points. So, can you summarize the best strategies in order to learn Polish?
Okay, there's one last strategy that I didn't have an
Secret
opportunity.
secret strategy.
Yes, kind of, and I saw you using that strategy actually in the
Yeah.
class.
Okay.
So that's taking notes. I can
Ah.
see that more and more people, both in online and offline classes, give up on taking notes. Like they want everything to be handed to them, or I've got the textbook, everything's in the textbook, so they don't take notes, and it's a big mistake because um, American scientists, right? And if American scientists say something that must be true, say that the movement of the hand also supports your memory. So it's better to memorize the words, and also when you write things, you can see what the word looks like. Get accustomed to it's the spelling, and the spelling can also help with pronunciation. So do this. Trust your teacher. Find a good teacher, but once you found a good teacher, trust him or her. So,
Never let her go.
he or she is not an enemy. And if he or she tells you that, I'm sorry, learning in 3 months is not possible, don't be fussy about it. Just trust the process, and don't be afraid to listen to the music, watch videos in Polish without understanding them. And if you have a Polish babcia, grandma, visit her as often as possible.
Yeah. I mean, these are really great tips for people to learn Polish. Yeah, yeah. And also, like, yeah, you can get married to a Polish woman. That's the easy way. She will force you to learn.
Yeah. Or a man. I mean, I think there may be more men marrying Polish women, but
Yeah.
it can also work the other way around.
No. Thank you so much, Karolina.
Thank you.
It was very good.
Dziękuję.
Dziękuję bardzo.